There we go. We are recording this webinar, and we will share this webinar recording with all the registrants within a few business days. If you have questions during the presentation, please use the Q&A box located below your video screen, and we'll address as many questions as possible during the webinar. And any unanswered questions will receive responses via email afterward. Feel free to use the chat function to share your thoughts and interact with fellow participants. However, please reserve the Q&A box exclusively for questions directed to the presenters. After the webinar, you will receive a brief survey, and we'd much appreciate your feedback and encourage you to share your thoughts about the webinar and the program. Now, without further ado, I'd like to take a moment to introduce today's speaker. So, as I've said before, Christopher A. Brown is the president of National Fatherhood Initiative. Mr. Brown oversees NFI strategy, operations, and fundraising. Since joining NFI in 2000, Mr. Brown has played a critical role in making NFI the nation's leading provider of fatherhood skill building resources and trainer of practitioners. He has been the foremost developer of NFI's evidence-based and evidence-informed fatherhood programs and resources. He trains on NFI programs and provides technical assistance to organizations on how to include fathers in programs and services. An applied anthropologist and author of several journal articles and book chapters on issues related to child health and well-being, he has studied masculinity cross-culturally, especially as it applies to fatherhood and men's health and well-being. He has appeared as a fatherhood expert in media outlets including the LA Times, New York Times, Nick Jr. Magazine, and CNN, and is a frequent guest on father and family-focused podcasts and webinars. He is the 2024 recipient of the Outstanding Fatherhood Leadership Award from the National Partnership for Community Leadership. He himself has two daughters and is a grandfather. He and his wife live in Austin, Texas, in the Austin, Texas area. And with that, Chris, you may take it away. You're on mute.
Thank you for that. So, yes, so as I was saying, thank you to Justin for that wonderful introduction. And welcome to all of you who are with us today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and pull up the slide deck that I'll use for the presentation today. So, as Justin mentioned, this is all about discovering the new edition of 24/7 Dad, the fourth edition. And because some of you may be new to National Fatherhood Initiative, I just want to share a little bit about who we are as an organization. Our mission at NFI is to increase father involvement by equipping communities and human service organizations with the training, programs, and resources they need to be father inclusive. And our vision is that all communities and human service organizations are proactively father inclusive so that every child has an involved, responsible, and committed father in their life. And we pursue our mission with what we call our 3E strategy. These are three core competencies that we've focused on developing over the years. The first E is to educate. So we educate and inspire organizations and communities about the importance of fathers through social media, earned media, research, and free resources and services. The second part of our E, which is by far the biggest of the E's, if you will, is to equip organizations and communities with fatherhood programs and resources and through training, planning, and technical assistance services. That's what this webinar today is all about. It's about equipping folks with the 24/7 Dad program. And then the final E is to engage, and that is engaging and assisting organizations and indeed entire communities to mobilize at the micro level or macro level to increase father involvement in children's lives. So we do a whole lot of stuff at NFI. So for those of you who have partnered with us over the years, you know that to be true. So now that we're going to transition into an overview of the fourth edition, I'm going to turn it back over to Justin, who's going to share with you a video that we created. Some of you may have seen this already, but many of you may have not, that provides an overview of the fourth edition. Justin?
Greetings, my name is Christopher Brown, President of National Fatherhood Initiative. We're buzzing with excitement about the fourth edition of 24/7 Dad, our flagship evidence and strengths-based program. 24/7 Dad is the most widely used fatherhood program in the U.S. by organizations serving fathers of all ages, races, ethnicities, religions, and backgrounds in diverse settings. It's also one of the most extensively researched fatherhood programs, proven to increase pro-fathering knowledge, attitudes, and skills. It also increases co-parenting effectiveness and decreases the risk of child abuse and neglect. 24/7 Dad empowers dads to become the father they want to be and their children need them to be through three key areas of impact. Healing through compassionate guidance and mutual support. Hope by building confidence and belief in their fathering. Help, giving them practical, research-backed tools for growth as men and fathers. 24/7 Dad is available in two versions. 24/7 Dad A.M. for dads who need fundamental fathering skills, and 24/7 Dad P.M. for dads who are ready for more advanced fathering skills. When integrated within a holistic intervention that connects fathers to supportive services that meet their individual needs, 24/7 Dad has its greatest impact. As with previous editions of the program, we use the latest research on effective fathering, parenting, relationships, and adult learning, plus ongoing feedback from facilitators, fathers, and independent evaluations to create a program that's better than ever. Here are just some of the improvements you can expect with the fourth edition of 24/7 Dad. Dedicated manuals for delivering the program in groups or one-on-one, such as during home visits. Scripts that make it easier to communicate the program's content and for new facilitators to hit the ground running. Improved flow of program activities and integrated feedback from seasoned facilitators. Tools for seamless in-person and virtual facilitation, such as a PowerPoint presentation. An even easier to understand fathering survey for evaluating the program's impact. New, engaging, and inspirational videos in each session. And new support resources for delivering the program in different time frames and with team dads. With the fourth edition of 24/7 Dad, you can equip dads like never before to be actively involved in their children's lives. We look forward to partnering with you on your journey to deliver healing, hope, and help to the dads you serve. Greetings.
All right. Thank you, Justin, for that. And just make sure I'm not on mute here. I'm not. Great. Okay. So we have some poll questions for you today. Help me specifically, to understand a little bit more about who is here in attendance. And the first of the poll questions that Justin will launch now asks whether you use the 24/7 Dad program right now. Justin?
All right, poll is out. We have lots of responses here, so we'll wait for the others. Right. Ending the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, so we have 6 of 6 who's never used it. 11 former users, 49 who use the AM version, and 12 who use the PM version, and 25 who use both.
Okay, so it sounds like we've got pretty much an even mix of current users and non-users. So for those of you who have not used the 24/7 Dad program, obviously this is going to be somewhat of an introduction to the program. And then for those of you who have used 24/7 Dad, either just recently or for a while, this will be a nice introduction to how the 24/7 Dad program in this fourth edition differs from the third edition. So this next poll question is just for those of you who don't use 24/7 Dad. So if you do, don't answer this poll question. But for those of you who don't use 24/7 Dad, do you use another fatherhood program, specifically a program designed for dads or a parenting program designed for dads and moms?
Hi, Victor. I see your hand raised. If you have a question, you can use the Q&A tab below your video, and you'll be able to see your question there. Thank you. All right, ending the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, we have 51 who don't use another fatherhood program, 28 who use another fatherhood program, and 24 who use another parenting program.
Okay. So again, a pretty even distribution of folks who, in this case, don't use any kind of other fatherhood program or parenting program, and some who do use a father-specific program or a parenting program. So for those of you who fall into that category of using another fatherhood program or parenting program, I'll be very interested to hear your thoughts, and you can certainly email me at when the webinar is over to share with me what your thoughts are in terms of how 24/7 Ad compares to what you're currently using. Okay, so I have several objectives here with our time today, and in addressing these objectives, I'm going to attempt to answer the following questions about the fourth edition. So first of all, what's the program's history, 24/7 Dad? Its background. What's the difference between the AM and PM versions? What's changed from the third edition? And bottom line, why should I use the fourth edition? And in answering those questions, you will learn about why we created the fourth edition, the process we used to create it, the improvements, and I'm going to actually show and tell you what those are, how you can get training on the fourth edition, and what the cost of the program is, as well as special offers and how you can acquire it. All right, so let's talk about the 24/7 Dad timeline. And in sharing this timeline, I want to emphasize that it really helps you to see our dedication at National Fatherhood Initiative to improving the program over time. At the same time, we're not in the business of just creating new editions for the sake of creating them. You can see by this timeline that the existence of each edition has been for a significant amount of time. So we only create new editions when evaluations of the program and changes, like I'll share in just a little bit in terms of the research that's being done on fatherhood, and also more broadly in terms of behavior change, warrants changes to the program such that a new edition is necessary. So we published the first edition in 2003, and that lasted until 2010. And in that time, it became the most widely used program by federal fatherhood grantees. And that really laid the foundation for it becoming the most widely used fatherhood program in the country. The second edition we released in 2010, and that lasted until 2014 when we issued the third edition. And that has been out for about 11 years now. And we had some major updates that we made to the third edition in 2017 and 2020 that, while major changes, didn't warrant, at least in our opinion, the release of a new edition. And this third edition was during the time when major evaluations established its evidence base and positive impact on multiple outcomes, those outcomes that you heard about in the overview video. And at each junction, if you will, between editions, we've continued supporting older editions for 1 year after the release of new ones so that folks have time, if they want to transition from the previous edition to the fourth edition before we stop supporting that edition. So 24/7 Dad, since its inception, has been comprised of two versions, 24/7 Dad A.M. and 24/7 Dad P.M. Both build 5 pro-fathering characteristics or traits, those being self-awareness, caring for self, fathering skills, parenting skills, and relationship skills. The AM version focuses on building basic or foundational pro-fathering knowledge, attitudes, and skills, while PM builds more in-depth or advanced pro-fathering knowledge, attitudes, and skills. The AM program is not a prerequisite for PM, but they are often run together. So later on today, I will share with you the fact that we offer an option to acquire the program in a bundle with AM and PM together. And we're running a special on that as well. But they do contain very different topics. And you can refer to what we call the AM and PM comparison chart for the topics, which is available from us as well. But typically, when organizations run them together, they do have dads go through the AM program first, followed by the PM program. So why did we decide to create a fourth edition? Well, it was time. Since 2014, facilitators and our staff have learned a lot about ways to improve the program. More research has been published on effective fathering, parenting, and relationships that we wanted to build into the program. Similarly, there have been advances in adult learning that indicated a need for more and better tools to be part of the program. And more evaluations of the program had been done and its impact on specific outcomes that suggested improvements. Also, it's reflective of our continued commitment to improving our programs and other resources. We are like a dog with a bone about following up and finding whatever research is being done independently on our programs and learning from those studies and building the results of them into all of our resources, not just 24/7 Dad. There is no other nationally available program that has that level of commitment to improvement. Furthermore, we want to make sure we're meeting the needs of our partners, such as guidance on delivering it to one father at a time. So one of the things that I'll share in just a minute that's new in this fourth edition is the addition of a dedicated manual for delivering the program one father at a time, or what we call one-on-one. We also have a history of continual gathering of feedback from facilitators, fathers, and our own staff. We wanted to make sure that we continue to have a program that is as easy and effective as possible to facilitate. We received requests for additional tools, such as those that would aid in virtual delivery. And we continually gather feedback from participants in our training institutes. And we've trained more than 3,500 facilitators on the program since the release of the third edition through September of last year. We also have, as I mentioned before, independent program evaluation data that's both quantitative and qualitative. We continually monitor the research on behavior change in a variety of fields, not just fathering and parenting, but other fields for fit or application in the work that we do and that you do with fathers. And so all of this stuff put together really pointed to enough improvements to justify a new edition. And so we started to develop the new edition in September of 2024, and it took 8 months. So very intense 8 months of development went into this 4th edition. So what are those improvements? First of all, we have some new curriculum components. As I mentioned, we have now separate facilitators manuals for group-based and one-on-one delivery, and that is for both AM and PM versions. So how this came about was over the years, we have seen more and more organizations modifying or customizing the group-based model that's been historically used to deliver 24/7 Dad for working with dads one-on-one, such as in home visits or case management situations. And we saw that while it wasn't difficult to do that, it would be a lot easier for people to have a dedicated manual for working with fathers one-on-one. We also now no longer have that annoying little flash drive that was so tiny it was easy to get lost. Moreover, a lot of computers, laptops these days don't have the capacity any longer to have a flash drive put into them. So we've created a web page for all of the supporting materials that go along with the program that were once on that flash drive. And it's a password protected website. So whenever someone acquires the 4th edition, they are given that password to access those additional resources. And I'll cover more about what those resources are in just a little bit. We also added 24 brand new videos that are integrated into the welcome and warm-up activities. So for those of you who are not familiar with 24/7 Dad, each session starts with a welcome and warm-up activity that gets dads into the flow of the topic of that session. So we've added some welcome and warm-up videos that we designed. I'll show you one a little bit later. One for each of the 12 sessions in the AM and PM program. Plus, when you introduce dads to the characteristics or traits of the 24/7 Dad early on in the AM and PM versions, we have a video that shows dads who have graduated from the program talking about the impact of it on those characteristics, those traits. And those are 2 additional videos that are available to you as well. We also created, and I know many of you will be very happy about this, PowerPoint slide decks that you can use, one each for AM and PM. And we were very careful in creating those so that we didn't create too many so that facilitators and fathers could use it as a crutch, and it would take away from the wonderful group dynamics that take place with the program. So there are just enough slides to use them as a visual aid, as an adult learning aid, and also to aid in your delivery of the program virtually, which people are doing more and more of. So we have PowerPoint slide decks, one for AM and one for PM. And we also have some additional guides to customizing the program for use with team fathers and delivering it with what we call different frequencies, meaning that most of the time the program is delivered 1 session per week, sometimes 2 sessions per week. But over the years, partners have customized the frequency of delivery where they're delivering it over weekends, for example, and doing so very creatively and successfully. So we have a guide for how you can do that and what the pros and cons are. We also improved the curriculum content in several ways. The first thing we did was we integrated the optional introductory session into the session guide portion of the facilitator's manual. If you use 24/7 Dad, you know that that optional introductory session was once on the flash drive, so it was actually separate from the facilitator's manual. But we found more and more partners are using that optional introductory session to ease fathers into the program and to help them learn more about the fathers that they're working with. So that's actually part of the facilitator's manual now. It's still optional, but it is in the facilitator's manual. We also improved and added additional pre-session procedures throughout the program to improve your ability to prepare for the session to successfully facilitate it. One of the most significant improvements is the addition of scripts. So historically, in our programs at National Fatherhood Initiative, we provided you with the information to provide to fathers and to mothers, for those of you who use Understanding Dad. And it was really up to you to get that information across in language that you were comfortable with and in the best way possible. And that's still possible to do, of course, with the fourth edition, but we're actually providing scripts. And this comes directly from numerous requests from people, particularly when we're training them during training institutes, to provide exactly what it is that they should say to fathers to get the content of the curriculum across in the best way possible. And we've done that. So it allows even seasoned facilitators to deliver the content more easily and more succinctly, and much easier for new facilitators to learn the program and hit the ground running. And I'll show you an example of a script in just a little bit. We also improved the flow of a number of activities. So we eliminated some gaps in some activities where clarity was lacking or it simply needed more content. We took the facilitator notes that we had put into the curriculum over the years, where facilitators had provided some interesting ideas for different ways you could do activities and that type of thing, how you can do an activity more effectively with certain types of fathers. And we integrated that as vital content, not so much as an aside or a thought to consider, but actually integrated into how you should do this activity. We revised and simplified two activities that are a part of each session, those being the My 24/7 Dad checklist and the closing comments and evaluation activity, to make those activities easier to facilitate and to increase your ability to facilitate them more quickly. We also added more sources for the evidence-based and evidence-informed content. So from time to time, we would get requests from facilitators to share, well, where did this content come from? Or they were getting questions from the fathers or their own organization. So we have added those sources throughout both the AM and PM versions. We also decluttered some of the design in the session guides. We eliminated unnecessary icons and formatted it so that you can easily pick out the scripts and identify facilitator instructions that are aside from the scripts that you need to be aware of as you facilitate each and every activity. And then we added a variety of new content, including content on communication, controlling relationships, the effect of parenting styles on children, work-family conflict, and more. We also improved the Fathering Handbook, which is, for those of you who don't use 24/7 Dad, this is a handbook, or you may refer to it typically as a workbook that the fathers use, very important for program fidelity. And we improved that Fathering Handbook by eliminating unnecessary design elements to free up more white space. We added new content to mirror that content that I just mentioned in the facilitators manuals. We added the quick quiz questions that facilitators ask at the end of each and every session to the Fathering Handbook to make that activity easier and quicker to facilitate. We also, and this is kind of a bonus, in designing the fourth edition, we were able to not create a separate handbook for the group-based and one-on-one version. So if you want to use both the group-based and one-on-one manuals, you use the same handbook, regardless of which delivery method you use. And furthermore, we improved the AM and PM fathering surveys. We rewrote many questions, pretty much every question that's not a demographic question, we rewrote to improve clarity and understandability on the part of the fathers. All right, so those are the improvements, quite a few. So I want to go over now the components in the facilitators kits. So when you acquire the 24/7 Dad program, either the AM or PM version, either group-based or one-on-one delivery method, then you will get the following components in the kits. So you will get a facilitator's manual, which has two components to it: a program guide, which gives you all the background you need to know on the program, including some of the information that I shared here on its history and other aspects of it that you really need to understand to kind of hit the ground running with the program. And then the second part is the session guide, the guide you use to actually conduct the sessions of the program. You get one complimentary copy of the Fathering Handbook for your use and reference. So it's yours to keep and refer to as you facilitate the program. The resources that used to come on a flash drive in a CD-ROM before that are now on a password protected website that you can go to once you acquire the program. We give you the password and you can download what we call the supporting resources or materials for both AM and PM versions. So there are some handouts that are not in the Fathering Handbook that are available and necessary for running certain sessions of the program. And we do that because for these handouts, you may want to make multiple copies. And so those are available to you, and you can make as many copies of those as you want. And those are available in Spanish as well. You also have the evaluation survey that I just mentioned, and we provide scoring instructions and also a worksheet for tabulating the pre-program and post-program scores of the fathers who participate in the program, thereby allowing you to evaluate the change in fathers from the start of the program to the end of the program. We also have a customizable press release that you can use to let folks in your community know that you're running the program, and a graduation certificate for the fathers. We also have the 24/7 Dad checklist, which is the key tool in the program, and you can make as many copies of that as you want. There's a Spanish version included as well. The videos that I mentioned, the 26, 13 each for AM and PM, are available for download from that website, or you can play them directly from the webpage if you wish. And Spanish caption versions are included as well, and a PowerPoint slide deck, one for AM and PM, and a Spanish version is included. So as you can see, we've got a lot of these resources in Spanish, and you will also find that we have the facilitators kits available in Spanish as well. All right, so let's take a look or a deep dive into some of these changes that I've mentioned. And specifically, we're going to look at some changes to session 10 in the AM program, session 7 in the PM program, and session 9 in the PM program. And this will give you an idea of some of the overall improvements, allow you to compare a little bit the fourth and the third editions. We'll show you an example of one of the new videos for the welcome and warm-up activity. I'll show you an example slide from one of the PowerPoint decks, an example activity improvement, how we improved an activity, and a little bit about the difference in how we customized the program for use with dads one-on-one. So what you see here are some side-by-side comparisons of the third edition and the fourth edition. You can see the third edition on the left and the fourth edition on the right. And I apologize, I know that some of this may be difficult to read. And so the point is not to actually read the content in the session manual, but look at the larger text in the margins and the arrows that indicate where some of these changes are. So one of the things you'll see on the left is that in the third edition, we had a collection of optional videos. So these were videos you could use if you wanted to, and they were animated. And we eliminated those videos altogether. So We did that in part because most people didn't use the videos, and because they were optional. They were just a little bit clunky, and they were also out of date from an animation perspective. So we eliminated those. On the right, you can see with the fourth edition, we have some new icons that are in green brackets. You've got the one at the top, which indicates the need to use the web page and the resources that are there, as well as the optional slide deck slide right below the projector icon. So for those of you who are not familiar with 24/7 Dad, at the beginning of each session, we have icons that indicate the materials that you need to use to successfully conduct the session. And there's a legend in the program guide that tells you what each of these icons represents. You can see on the right, in just comparing the session description at the top of the page, there's more content there. So throughout the AM and PM versions, we improved the session description to give you as a facilitator more clarity about what the session is designed to accomplish. And you can also see that on the left-hand side, there's a facilitator note at the bottom of the introduction to the session. And that facilitator note in the fourth edition has now been integrated as a pre-session procedure that you should do, as opposed to just something you should consider doing. Again, you've got the third edition here on the left. You've got the fourth edition on the right. You can see that at the start of this welcome and warm-up activity for session 10, we removed all of the icons that are in the margin on the right-hand side on the third edition. And the reason for that was they were just unnecessary and they were cluttering things. So we were being a bit repetitive with that particular design element. So this gives you a little more white space. You can also see that we have a script now where it says say, and then it has content following that. So this is content that you can now deliver verbatim, and you can still customize that content if you want. But you can see on the left in the third edition with procedure number 1, we didn't have the specific language that you should say. You've also got, after the script, which is in that box that surrounds procedure number 1, you've got your notes as a facilitator in terms of what you're supposed to do following what you deliver in the script. So here, and I'll just read it to you real quickly, give the dads an opportunity to share. If no one speaks up, consider calling on one or more of them to share. So this gives you very specific instructions for what you should do as a facilitator. So the script appears in the box in normal text. The instructions for you as a facilitator appear in parentheses and are italicized. We also have better icon placement, meaning that we're much more specific about when you should use and where you should use the different materials as you go through each and every activity. And you can see here down to the bottom right, again, facilitator instructions are in parentheses and italics. And then, of course, you've got the new session introductory videos, the welcome and warm-up videos there as well. Once again, you've got the third edition on the left and you've got the fourth edition on the right. You can see in the fourth edition, and this is transitioning to activity 10.2, you've got the optional slide deck that you can use. So the slide deck is optional, but we definitely recommend it. And you will see there on the left-hand side of the fourth edition, under the critical point, you've got the instruction of when you should use that optional slide and the number of the slide in the slide deck that you should use at that particular point. And then you'll also see, and I won't go into too much detail here, but one of the changes, most significant changes we made to an activity in the AM version is this activity on parenting differences, where we focused on two things previously, trying to explain the difference between a parenting approach and a parenting style. We really struggled with that. Facilitators struggled with that, and we realized that we could just focus on parenting style. So we eliminated that distinction between approaches and style, and in part due to research, because researchers had stopped talking about the difference between parenting approaches and styles. And finally, you see at the bottom an example of how we are better sourcing the content that is in the program that's evidence-based or evidence-informed. And so you can see those references at the bottom of the page in footnotes. Again, third edition on the left, fourth edition on the right. You can see that in the left-hand margin in the third edition, there was a note to Facilitator, which frankly, if you're facilitating the program and you're, trying to pay attention to what's happening in terms of what the dads are saying and how, their body language, trying to read something like that could be really difficult and even annoying. So what we did was we actually took that particular note to Facilitator and we actually put it into the pre-session procedures at the beginning of the session, a much better location for that. So you can see that on the right-hand side, again, continuing this idea of focusing on parenting style only, which simplified this activity quite a bit. We provide clear, more detailed Facilitator instructions for what to do after asking questions or giving instructions. And again, the script really does simplify facilitation. All right, some of the new content. So this is just from the fourth edition. So for those of you who use the PM version, and I know most people use AM instead of PM, but you can see on the left, activity 7.2, the third edition ended after the fourth procedure, and it kind of ended abruptly, and frankly, there was probably more to say about the differences between power and control. So we looked at the research and found some really good studies on signs that a partner is too controlling. And so we added that to activity 7.2. So the new content is helpful to fathers, and it fills a gap in an activity that had, frankly, a poor closing. So one of the things we looked at was, did set activities end too abruptly, kind of leaving people wondering. And for those that did, we added some content to better close those activities. So here are just a few examples of the difference between the group and one-on-one delivery version. So you've got the group-based version of activity 9.2 in the PM program on the left and the one-on-one version on the right. So we did some simple things, of course, such as changing references that were plural to singular. So wherever it says dads in the group-based, it just says dad, or dad, apostrophe S in the one-on-one version. And during role plays where you as a facilitator and working with groups would typically pair up dads to work together on a role play, for example. In the one-on-one version, you don't pair. In fact, you as a facilitator do the role play with the father. So there are a number of activities that needed to be customized for one-on-one delivery, and that's what we did with the one-on-one delivery option. And this is just some other examples of how we modified this activity, which is basically has two role plays as a part of it for one-on-one delivery. So one of the things that, if you decide to use the one-on-one delivery version, you'll find as a facilitator, you are actually taking a more active role in the program even than you do in the group-based delivery version, because of your interactions with the father and how they differ when delivering the program one-on-one. All right, so that shows you just, again, some side-by-side comparisons and some of the other improvements to the 24/7 Dad program with the fourth edition. And what I'm going to do now is have Justin show you an example of the introductory video, the welcome and warm-up video that's part of activity 10.1 in the AM program. So Justin, would you do that, please?
Hey there, my name is Antoine Johnson, Program Success Director with National Fatherhood Initiative. Welcome to Session 10 called Working with Mom and Co-Parenting. Your 24/7 Dad Facilitator asks you to identify the main issues you and your children's mother or main caretaker have in raising your children and how those issues affect your children. What did you write in your handbook? My wife Simone and I are usually pretty self-aware of our strengths or weaknesses in the area of working together in parenting. For example, in sharing household responsibilities, she usually takes care of dinner and dishes, and I usually help with bath and bedtime with our 2 toddlers. This session focuses on the importance of working together with your children's mother to raise your children. You'll learn about the cause of parenting differences and how to solve the ones that you can realistically solve. You'll learn to focus on the role you play in creating those differences and the importance of listening to the point of view of your children's mother. And you'll walk away with some great tips on how to solve differences. As you go through the session, you'll be challenged to think deeply about what leads parents to have differences in how to raise their children, which differences you can realistically solve, being open to seeing things from the mother's point of view, and learning to work with the mother for the sake of your children, even when there's differences you can't solve. I'm confident you'll leave this session better equipped to be a good co-parent.
All right, so that's an example of one of the new videos. All right, and here's an example of one of the slides. So this is a slide from activity 7.2 in the AM program, difference between power and control. So we designed the slides to reinforce the most important content in the program. So this is just another way to enhance father's learning. So here's our next poll question, and that is for those of you using 24/7 Dad. So just for those of you who use the program, have you received formal training on it from National Fatherhood Initiative, either live training, in person, a webinar, or using our on-demand e-learning platform?
Okay, ending the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. So we have 46 who haven't been formally trained by NFI. Yes, on 44 on online and on a webinar, 15 in person, and 13 on demand.
Okay, great. So a pretty good split there between people who have and have not been trained. So the next poll question is just based on your thoughts now. We're just curious as to whether you think you'll acquire the 4th edition of the program, and this is for everyone who's in attendance, and that would be AM or PM or both, using either the group-based or one-on-one delivery method or both.
Feel free to be honest with this. We won't
And we're not asking you, will you acquire it today?
yeah.
It could be at any time. And again, we will be supporting the third edition for the next year.
Right, and then we pull in five, four, three, two, and one. All right. We have six who will not, 77 who are unsure, 23 who will take the AM only, and four who will take the PM only, and 39 who will take both.
Okay, great, good deal. All right, so here is the information on training options for 24/7 Dad. So let me just share at the very top, as with all the previous editions and all of our programs at NFI, facilitator training is not required by us to run the program, but it's highly encouraged. So we create our programs to be run what is often referred to as out of the box, meaning that if you're a good facilitator, we've got the program guide portion of the facilitator's manual in all of our programs, not just 24/7 Dad, and you can read through that, and there should be enough information there for you to hit the ground running with the program. A lot of times people get trained after they start running the program, in addition to those who get trained before. But we do highly encourage it. And so we are in the process of designing an entirely new training on the fourth edition. Our first offering of a new training is a public webinar next month. So there is information on that on our website. And even if you're using the 24/7 Dad program currently, we would encourage you, certainly if you get the fourth edition, to take the training because it's a good refresher for current and past users. We have a number of options to meet your needs. So we do 1 day and 2 day live on-site trainings for organizations. So we come to where you are. Most people choose the 2 day option because it allows more practice facilitation. So we focus our live trainings that we do in person or on site heavily on practice facilitation. We also do 1 day and 2 day live online trainings for organizations as well. Again, we focus a lot of that time, especially the 2 day, on practice facilitation. It's just done in a virtual environment as opposed to an in-person face-to-face environment. We also do a 1 day live online training for individuals. So anyone can attend these that are periodically scheduled throughout the year. And you can see the URL here where we have the listing for the training next month, which takes place on June 3rd. We have registrations filling up pretty fast for that. So if you want to get trained on the fourth edition soon, I encourage you to sign up for that training. We also have an on-demand online training for individuals. You can enroll anytime in our trainings at the Father Engagement Academy, and there's a URL there. We do not currently have the fourth edition ready yet. It should be ready in about 6 weeks or so. So if you want to take advantage of the on-demand training for the fourth edition, keep in touch with us and we'll let you know. Otherwise, there are all of these options available to you to be trained pretty much immediately on the program. Okay, so in terms of pricing for the fourth edition, so in terms of what the regular pricing will be, it's not currently because we're running some discount specials on the fourth edition. The AM or PM group-based or one-on-one delivery kits will run $899 each, and you can get the AM and PM bundle for $1748, which saves you $250 versus buying those kits separately. We also will be selling the fathering handbooks for $13.99 each, but we're also running a special on those, which I'll get to in a minute. But we are still currently in what we call a pre-sale phase because we do not have the kits and handbooks in stock yet. We will very soon. So from now until June 14th, when we will start shipping the fourth edition, you can get the Facilitator's kit at a $250 savings, and that's $649 per kit. And just to give you an idea, that's what we charged for the third edition when we first released it in 2014. So that's quite a savings. You can also purchase the bundle, the AM and PM bundle, for another $250 savings at $12.98 instead of the $17.48. You can also buy 10 fathering handbooks. So basically, buy your first collection of handbooks for your first group of dads that will go through the fourth edition of 24/7 Dad. If you buy 10 fathering handbooks, you'll get 5 free. So that saves you about $70. And there's a code that you can see here to use at checkout in our FatherSource online store to get that particular discount. We're also offering the organization 24/7 Dad webinar training. So either the in-person, on-site, or webinar delivered training for an organization for us to train an organization's facilitators. We're giving $300 off a 1-day or $500 off a 2-day. That doesn't mean you have to have the training done by June 14th, just securing a training with us by that date. At any time, you can purchase the 24/7 Dad A.M. or PM Facilitators kits at fathersource.org. You can purchase any customized webinar or in-person 24/7 Dad training as well, and you can talk with our staff. You can also receive a 25% discount on a brand new bundle of print resources that we have created that complement the 24/7 Dad program. It's called the 24/7 Dad Power Bundle, and it includes a lot of different topics that are addressed in these print materials that reinforce some of the content in the 24/7 Dad program and increase the father's learning. You can purchase as many power bundles as you want when purchasing with a customized webinar or an in-person 24/7 Dad training. And this will save you $57 off the regular price. So it's a significant savings. And you can learn more about that power bundle at the URL on this slide. Okay, and with that, I know that we are right up against time, but certainly do want to answer any questions that we were not able to get to in the Q&A pane.
So there were 2 questions that I thought I just would like to have you answer, Chris, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure.
Fred Dent said that their student demographic is primarily single dads working on co-parenting challenges in separate households. Session 10 is particularly difficult because dad is part-time with kids. Are there videos that don't focus on nuclear families?
We don't have specific videos for you to replace the videos that focus on nuclear families. I would recommend that you either don't use those videos, or you would obviously have to frame the videos from the perspective of the fact that these are showing nuclear families, but I would recommend that you just don't use the videos.
Okay. And Jeff Tunnell asked, do you have plans to have the California Evidence-Based Clearinghouse review the program?
So the California Evidence-Based Clearinghouse, or the CEBC, has reviewed the program. So Jeff, if you've got a specific question for me about that, let me know.
Okay, those were the only two questions that remained in the Q&A that I wasn't able to answer, or that I wanted to answer live, rather. A common question was related to how long we will support the third edition. So if anyone has third edition handbooks, you're welcome to continue using the third edition of the program until you run out of handbooks, or until we stop providing the handbooks, which will be for 1 year. Because the fourth edition handbooks do not match up with the third edition facilitators manual. So those two need to match. So if you're using a third edition facilitators manual, you should have the dads using the third edition handbooks, and they are marked as such. So that was a common question. The other question was the language that the program is available in is English and in Spanish, both the full facilitators kit, so the manual, and fathering handbooks are available in English and in Spanish for one-on-one and group-based AM and PM. And again, the handbooks for AM are used with one-on-one and group-based, and the PM handbooks are also used with one-on-one and group-based. So you don't have to have different handbooks for whether you're using one-on-one or group-based. And then another common question was related to videos. The videos are available with Spanish captions. So you have them in English, and then there's a version with the Spanish caption. So those were some common questions that I wanted to make sure everyone was aware of the answers to. A follow-up question, Chris, to the question that Fred asked about session 10. Romarie McHugh is asking, are we allowed to reframe the question about co-parenting in a nuclear family to reflect more with non-custodial dad if needed, and add a video that fits more?
Oh, absolutely. And that, as with previous editions of the program, we definitely encourage you to customize it based on the unique makeup of either the dads that you work with on a regular basis, or from time to time, if you're working with a different type of dad than you normally work with, by all means, customize it as necessary.
Okay, great. Let's see.
Yeah, and one thing that you'll notice, and I want to make sure that, yeah, I think I'm picking up on something that is a little concerning for me. So the videos, when you look at them as a collection, reflect a variety of different types of families. So nuclear families, single families, a variety of families. So don't take the particular video from session 10 that I just showed you as representative of all the videos, as if the only types of families shown are nuclear families.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of variety in the videos. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We made sure that that was the case.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Francisco is asking, does any of the AM or PM have any finance or budgeting info?
No, but I believe the Power Bundle does include the financial information. So we have a brochure on how to better manage your money that includes guidance on how fathers can increase their financial literacy, and also provides access to a spending or expense plan that they can create as well. We also have what's called the non-custodial dads booster sessions, which has an entire session that you can add to the 24/7 dad program on money management.
Great. I'm just scrolling through here. Can we team with multiple organizations for the facilitators training to share the cost?
Yes, you can. We've done that from time to time. You just need to contact us and we can work out the details. Absolutely.
Stan is asking, being new, what is the difference between the AM and PM handbooks?
The difference between the AM and PM handbooks is that they match the AM PM versions of the program in terms of the content that's delivered in each. So different content, different topics in AM and PM, even though both versions focus on building the same pro-fathering characteristics, the content that's addressed differs completely. So you will see different content in the PM handbook than the AM handbook. So make sure that if you use the AM program, you're getting the AM handbook, PM program getting the PM handbook.
Right. Okay. Some folks have some questions about training. Please go ahead and direct those as far as pricing goes to our resource center. Jacqueline Evans is a great resource for you. I will put her information in the chat box right now. She can provide you a formal quote depending on your particular scenario. So we do offer, we do have a live training, live public training for 24/7 Dad 4th edition coming up on June 3rd. That is open to be registered for now. We will also have an on-demand training in our academy that will be available in August. And then you can also have us do a webinar or in-person training for your organization only in a 1 or 2 day fashion that has a separate pricing as well. So like I said, I'll go ahead and drop Jackie's information here in the chat pane. I also included a link to the product page where you can see more about pricing. Elizabeth, you're asking about a certificate to show someone has been trained. Yes, so if someone attends any one of our trainings that I just described, the attendee will receive a certificate of completion for attending the training. Just looking through. Chris, in the non-custodial dads booster, does that have one that focuses on finances?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So Noah had asked about, is the financial booster new? I know, Chris, you mentioned the financial related, that's the brochure we were speaking of earlier. But we do have some non-custodial dad booster sessions that are available for the 24/7 Dad program. And I can go ahead and drop that link in the chat here. So if you're interested in seeing what those additional booster sessions are for non-custodial dads, you can read about them here.
And while she's doing that, you can add those booster sessions in any manner that you want to the program. You can drop certain sessions in between sessions of the 24/7 Dad program. You can do the sessions after the program or before the program starts. You can even do those sessions separate from the program if you like, as like a weekend workshop or something like that. But they're designed and structured exactly like the 24/7 Dad program.
And yes, Jacqueline, the 4th edition, there is a AM and a PM for the 4th edition. That is correct. Fred was looking for the URL for the discount to purchase the kit. So I included a link to the product page. The discount is already applied to the Facilitator's kit. So if you'll go to the actual link for the product page, Justin has dropped it there again in the chat. Just go ahead and click on that and it automatically gives you that discount up until June 14th. Any suggestions on facilitating the course to single fathers of children that are autistic or have special needs?
No, we do not have specific content to help you customize the delivery for dads of children with special healthcare needs. We are looking into doing that, but we don't have any specific guidance on that, unfortunately.
Okay. I think that's all the questions that I have here, Chris. If you have additional questions, Chris has provided his email address. We will be sending out this recording and the PowerPoint presentation via email on Friday. In the meantime, though, you're welcome to reach out to us directly to our resource center. Jacqueline Evans can assist you. I'm happy to assist you. We're all here to answer any questions you have about the differences between 3rd edition and 4th edition, and we can provide a formal price quote if that's helpful to you. But just remember that all of the savings that Chris mentioned end on June 14th. So you'll want to try to take advantage of that before then. So I'll pass it back to you guys.
Yeah, let me just give my email address real quick. It's C Brown, all lowercase, C as in cat, Brown is in the color, fatherhood.org. And please don't hesitate to send me any questions that you have about the program.
To answer Tori's question, yes, we will also include the links in the email regarding the cost and everything, along with the recordings.
Well, thank you, everybody. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, everybody. Have a nice rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Oh, feel free to be honest on that post survey.
Or you can lie, whatever.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.